Welcome, bienvenidos, to another episode of Average Jose's Sports Talk.
Sports talk.
And this is a very special episode for multiple reasons. Because for the
I'm in
first time, yeah, because you're in it, and for the first time in Average Jose's Sports Talk history, we're not only having a guest this episode, but we got rid of the quiz bowl because we're too
rid of the quiz bowl.
stupid for that. We realized how bad we looked doing it, so we tossed that out, and we're doing something.
So we decided to do something that'll make us look worse.
A bunch
We're
of
just
you have probably
asking
seen
random trivia. Obviously, we're not going to be good at it.
a bunch of you have probably seen like the immaculate grid stuff. It's been on social media forever. I feel like it's a thing where you got like a 3x3 chart, and it's like what's it, like the Punnett squares or whatever. Is that what they used to be called? Where you had to like
Punnett squares.
Punnett squares. It's like a Punnett square, but for sports. And instead of like figuring out like genes and stuff, you're figuring out players. And instead of like having fun with it, you're like realizing how terrible you are at knowing sports. So we're gonna do that instead to start the episode. It's gonna be a fun episode. Broncos are still on their run. Bears had probably like the most boring game of the season last night, but they got the win, so that's something. The Cowboys got a win away from home, so that's history. Oregon is still fighting for a playoff spot, and the college football playoffs are getting closer and closer, and it is becoming a very interesting race. But before we start all of that, we've got to start with this morning's immaculate grid. So let me just pull it up here for us. All right, you see that bad boy?
I do see it.
We're not sponsored by Intermountain Health. All right. I feel like Super Bowl champ could be an easy one. Ray Lewis? Did Ray Lewis ever get a Super Bowl championship for the Ravens? I guess we have to say this out loud for people listening on the podcast. So the top three are Vikings, Bills, and Super Bowl champ. The left three are Ravens, Giants, and Bears. So we got to match it up. So what player played for both the Vikings and the Bears and Bills, and what player won a Super Bowl? So Ray Lewis won a Super Bowl, and we have 9 guesses to do this. We literally can't get one wrong. We have to fill in all 9 squares with all 9 guesses.
Yeah, Ray Lewis won. I think it was the last Super Bowl, and then he retired that season.
All right, let's toss him in there. Oh, let's go. 24% of people say Ray Lewis.
It's crazy because I couldn't tell you another one.
Yeah, that's actually insane.
I don't even know who the QB was on that Super Bowl team.
When was the last time the Giants? Eli Manning has a Super Bowl, doesn't he?
Oh, he is too.
Yeah.
Both against Tom Brady.
36% said Eli Manning. Wow. And Bears. Give me one. You got this. When's the last time the Bears won a Super Bowl?
Well, it was the 85 Bears. That's when they won a Super Bowl, but there's obviously been players that have been on the Bears that have won the Super Bowl.
Did Dick Butkus ever win a Super Bowl?
It wasn't Dick Butkus. I think Mike Ditka won. I want to say he was the tight end of the 85 Bears.
We going Mike Ditka?
Nope. Don't do it.
He wasn't tight end in 85.
I know, take it out. I think he was the head coach at the time, is what I was trying to say. No, I don't think Dick Butkus was. That's not how you spell Dick.
Oh, they actually spell it like. Well, Dick Butkus and Mike Ditka played together. I don't think I realized that.
I think I did realize that. So the problem is, I don't know anyone on that 85 Bears.
85 Bears. Yeah. I mean, for the Bears-Vikings slot, could we toss? Because Brett Favre played for the Bears, didn't he?
No.
I think I'm. Dang, I don't know why I thought he did.
Dang. For that, we have Jared Allen. You could put
Jared Allen.
Jared Allen. Jared Allen.
There it is. I don't know how you spell Jared. There's 25% said Jared Allen. Good job.
Cool, so we're done now?
It's so hard. It's terrible. Oh my
Bears Bills. I
gosh.
have no idea. Bears Bills.
I'm almost to the point where I
The
just start.
problem is there's so many answers because of how
Yeah.
many people in the background are getting traded and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Like, it's hard to pick a quarterback because quarterbacks, like, I mean, unless you're doing like Ryan Fitzpatrick or something, but like, I don't know. Did Ryan Fitzpatrick play for the Vikings and Ravens?
No, I don't think he played for either of them actually.
So if I put him in there, then it counts because it's neither. That's the rule. If they play for neither team, you also get them. You don't think Mike Ditka ever got a Super Bowl?
I know he didn't. He only played for the Bears. They only won the Super Bowl in '85.
That's their only Super Bowl win? That's tough.
Thanks.
That means there's like 22 dudes that could be out of like the whole NFL.
No, because people move around. I'm trying to think of people who have been on the Bears. Oh, it was so close. I want to say he's a lineman, a D lineman that played for the Bears last season, got traded to the Eagles, and then the Eagles lost in the Super Bowl. So
Oh,
I was
that's
hoping the
true.
Eagles
So you're
won
saying
just
I
that
see
way
what
he
you're
could get
saying.
it.
I see what you're saying. So players that were on the Bears and left. I was thinking like when the Bears won the Super Bowl. That makes sense. Okay. That definitely
Yeah.
broadens it. That definitely broadens it a lot more than I was
Well,
thinking.
yeah, because I was trying to think. Did Walter put Walter Payton in the search thing?
87. He was on the Bears at that time. Am I committing? Am I doing it?
Oh, I thought. Yeah, I was waiting for you to hit select.
31% say Walter Payton.
I was thinking Walter Payton the whole time, but I was like, I don't remember when he played exactly.
All right,
Okay.
now I don't know
I'm way
any.
better at this than you.
I don't know. It's literally your team. I
I
don't know
thought of
any
Ray
Ravens.
Lewis and Eli Manning though.
Oh, Adrian Peterson. Nope. I thought Adrian Peterson was on the Ravens.
I don't think. No.
I thought he played for the Ravens at one point.
Cool. So just screwed us there.
Cool. Can't get a perfect game, but that's okay.
I say Walter Payne. It clearly says 87. You're like, I don't know if I'm gonna send that. And then
I thought Adrian Peterson was on the Ravens. Dang.
I'm trying to think. Giants, Bills. I feel like.
Oh no, Odell's on the Ravens now. I was gonna say Odell's on the Giants, but now he's on the Ravens. Not the Vikings. Bills. I don't know anyone on the Bills.
Too bad those are next to each other.
Bills Vikings.
Yeah, because we could have had a.
You're so close.
Stephon Diggs.
I was gonna say Stephon Diggs. Yeah.
It was right there. I couldn't get it out.
Bro, this is terrible. The worst part is if you hit give up, it doesn't fill it out, so you're just left wondering.
So then you just have to Google.
Do we just whip out Google at this point?
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna make me sad because I'm gonna be like, shoot, I should have known that.
For Bears and Bills. All right. Fazan Tremaine Edmonds is a linebacker for the Bears, drafted by the Bills.
I had no idea that Tremaine. I think you can just type Tremaine Edmonds.
I want to do him justice and put his full name.
I didn't even know that was his full name.
Oh, they only put him. Oh wow. 32% say Tremaine Edmonds. Wow. That's actually crazy.
Of his first name.
Yeah, he was drafted by the Bills and now plays for the Bears.
Yeah, I straight did not know that.
All right, what about Giants Bills? Oh, Hodgins. Isaiah Hodgins. %11% said Isaiah Hodgins. Nice. I think he was drafted by the Bills.
I don't even know who that is.
You know, Isaiah, I've heard the name.
You I know the name. I don't know. It's crazy I don't have
He's a
pictures
wide
for Walter
receiver.
Payton or Ray Lewis.
Yeah, I know, that was funny. He's the wide receiver for the Giants.
I didn't know they had wide receivers.
Yeah, you wouldn't think they would with how bad their quarterback is. All right. What player played for Giants and Vikings? Fran Tarkenton.
Excuse me? That's not a real person.
Whoa, this is crazy. So he played for the Giants and the Vikings. Just kidding. So he was drafted by the Vikings in 61, played for the Giants from 67 to 71, and then got traded back to the Vikings.
It happens a lot, actually.
They really said he's not as good as you guys said he was. Take him back. 23% say Fran Tarkenton.
Feel like it.
Right, let's go Ravens Vikings. Bryant McKinney played 9 seasons for the Vikings and 3 for the Ravens.
I think I've actually heard that name.
2002 to 2013. 2% said Bryant McKinney. We got a rarity score of 284, and that's cool because anytime you leave an open square, that's an automatic 100 points. So the lower your score, the better. So really, we got 184 with our guesses. All right, time for men's basketball. Men's basketball. I think Paul George is All NBA.
This one's on you, buddy.
Curry clearly. Mavericks. I think Luka made All NBA. Okay, I'm done. I don't know anyone.
That was more than I knew.
So the rest of the scores I got, top is Nets and Jazz, and then left is Pacers, Warriors, Mavericks. Who's on the map? Kyrie was Mavericks for a little bit. Who's D's?
D's not.
This podcast is for children. Stop.
No, it's not.
Mavericks and Jazz. Who played for both of them?
Do you like Jazz?
You like Jazz? Oh, who was on the Donovan Mitchell? I think he was on the. Did he ever go to the? Yeah, he never went to the Warriors. I'm thinking of. Oh my gosh, what's his name? I don't remember.
Thinking you should get better.
I think I'm such a casual at this. This is terrible. Oh, KD was on the Nets for a little bit, and he was on the Warriors. K Dizzle. I don't know any Pacers players. It's terrible. I want to say Gobert played for the Pacers at one point. Maybe I'm thinking of Rudy Gay. I'm actually thinking of neither of them, so that's crazy.
I wasn't thinking of either person.
What Jazz? See, my hard part is I think of like current. I don't think of like who in the past, right? I'm not like who in the 80s played for both teams because I feel like that'd be so much easier to list.
My hard part is I don't know basketball.
That too. Donyell Marshall played for Warriors and Jazz. Cool. All right.
Cool.
Baseball.
No way, you're just running through all of these songs.
What about women's basketball?
I don't even know what those are.
Hockey?
Are those their like team logos?
Yeah, it's the logos. You got the Mystics.
They look so cool.
The Lynx is like Minnesota's, I believe. Seattle like Storm, I think. The Pegasi, the Dallas Wings. My bad. Yeah, Seattle Storm, Minnesota Lynx, Las Vegas Aces. They were in the finals. All right, and then let's go finals. Soccer to finish it off. So who was in the Premier League? And we're not sponsored.
Messi.
I don't think he's played for any of these teams, bud.
That's the only soccer player. Ronaldo.
Let's go Messi. No. About Ronaldo? No. Oh, let's score. Messi? No. Ronaldo? Oh!
Told you.
Let's go. Ronaldo played for Juventus FC and was in the Premier League.
That's crazy.
That's actually insane. Yeah, these are pretty fun. I like doing them. You can look up like previous grids too, so you could do one in the past, which is kind of fun. You want to do another one, or should we just move on with the episode? Do people even enjoy this? I don't even know.
Should we just do all this for every episode?
This should just be the episode from now on. Light work. Light work. 6% said Aaron Rodgers for the Packers and Jets.
You know who probably has more?
Who? Don't say it.
I wasn't gonna say these. Favre.
Oh yeah, because they've got like the same.
They're doing the exact same thing. So Aaron Rodgers is going to Minnesota.
That's crazy. Well, yeah. So that's Immaculate Grid for today. Probably do it next week. Probably be just as bad, but the goal is to get better and to increase our knowledge in football.
I don't know how we could get better because it's not like it tells us, and it's not like they're usually the same. So
well, now I know
really
that
keep doing it and getting better.
Now you know that your boy on the Bears was drafted by the Giants. So if a guy ever walks up to you on the street and he's like, list all the players who've been drafted by the Giants and have gone to the Bears, and I'll give you $50. And you've got one right off the bat right there.
I wouldn't, because it wasn't the Giants, it was the Bills.
Maybe another week then. All right. You're not wearing a hat or a hood, so everyone can actually see your face this time. So
I have worn a hat one time.
I know. It's my thing.
Hood,
and I was mad. It's my thing, and I was mad. So
why are you mad?
Because I'm the guy that wears the hats.
Anyone can wear a hat. We can both be hat guys.
Nope.
Yeah, we can.
Nope.
I just need a haircut. I shower.
Anyways, it's time for team takes.
They like to hear about my daily life too. Okay, it's not just about sports all the time. They care about me as a person.
We just lost a subscriber, and this episode's not even out yet.
We don't have subscribers.
We have 3.
It's you, me, and your dad.
So the Broncos beat the Browns,
which is crazy.
Yeah, so the Broncos beat the Browns 29-12. First ever 29-12 final score. So
I was expecting them to get rocked,
setting records. Yeah, I was expecting the Browns defense to like give us like more of a fight, I guess. Myles Garrett like went out with an injury, I'm pretty sure. Like, so that's helped us. Russell Wilson,
if he went out with an injury, but I did.
He was
see
out for a little
bit. He had his arm in a sling.
Yeah. Russell Wilson had an insane game offensively. I mean,
what's funny is I checked the stats afterwards and I was like, he's going to say that Russell Wilson had a great game when he didn't do anything. I want to know how QBR is decided.
So Russell Wilson went 13 of 22, 134 yards, 1 touchdown, which is good, no interceptions, 1 sack, which is bad, and a QBR of almost 90, 89.2.
That's like, I'm going to say the QBR before I even say the stats, okay? Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 34.6 QBR.
Oh, wow. Okay. He must have done terrible.
Like, almost, like, what is that, 55? Almost 55 less. 14 of 29, okay? 1 more completion on 7 more attempts. 134 yards, exact same amount of yards. 1 touchdown, exact same touchdowns. 0 interceptions, 1 less sack because he wasn't sacked at all. And his QBR is 55 less. Like, how do you have 55 less when the only thing that's different is you had less yards per attempt, a few more, incompletions, and less sacks? I don't understand QBRs even slightly.
I don't know, dude. I didn't realize how like exact the stats were.
That's just you pointed that out. Makes 0 sense to me.
Let's look it up.
Didn't they have 2 different QBs?
Yeah, they had to put in they put in PJ Walker or whatever.
Like that just makes 0 sense.
Oh, interesting. So total QBR takes each individual play and measures the expected points added for each play. Since every play situation is different, there's a different value for EPA in each case. A team can expect zero point 0.9 net point advantage when it's first down and 10 to go on their own 20. So basically, like starting field position plays like a big part of it. So like yards out of attempts, multiply that by 0.25 and then subtract by 0.75, I guess. They take into account yards out of attempts, completions out of attempts, touchdowns out of attempts, and then interceptions out of attempts. So it's all based off attempts, not actual completions. Completions is only like one piece of it. So like that's why if you have like a huge attempt, like if you throw like 29 passes, but have the same yards,
well, yeah,
like
he
you're
had
gonna
less than 50% completion.
Yeah, so like that's gonna play into it a little bit. So it is crazy though
Insane.
how insane like one completion and 7 extra passes, how big of a difference that makes for
So does a
QBR.
sack take account at all?
It doesn't seem
You can
like
get
it. I
sacked
mean,
40 times and have a
maybe for
perfect
the next play
QBR.
because now you're starting in a negative. Like, so if you get sacked now, it's 2nd and 12 or 2nd and 13 or whatever.
So it doesn't
Um,
directly affect it, but it does affect it.
Yeah. So, um, good game by the Broncos. I mean, obviously Russell Wilson's stats aren't anything to like be super hyped about, but overall, like Broncos defense had a great showing. Um, they had great pressure on Dorian Thompson. There was like a few plays where I was like, they called like roughing the passer, and I was like, okay, I don't. That it shouldn't have been roughing the passer. You get like a few steps before you can't hit him anymore, and it was like he threw it and then got hit. I think maybe because of how hard they hit him, but still, like then you have people complaining about how
It
soft
could
the
be because
NFL
they
now is
like
and stuff.
destroyed that man, but I'm not really
They did put him
sure.
out of the game. Oh, he was out of the
I
game
don't
after
know
that
why I
hit.
didn't put PJ Walker on the stat sheet instead
I
of
should have.
Dorian Thompson
I mean,
Robinson.
Dorian Thompson played most of the game. I
Yeah,
can
but
mention.
PJ Walker was 6 for 13,
Yeah, I was gonna say we can
56
mention PJ
yards,
Walker.
4 sacks for minus 28 yards, QBR of 1.
I did put for the Cowboys game. Nevada put in their backup, and I put his in just because he had a QBR of 1. I didn't realize PJ Walker had a QBR of 1. I should have put him in there. That's
I
so
didn't know
funny.
you could have a QBR of 1.
Yeah. Um, Now we see why PJ Walker isn't the starting quarterback. I was wondering earlier, and now we see.
I don't
Um,
remember who it was, but I was looking at their thing. They had a QBR of 0.
yeah, I remember that. I
0,
remember it
like
was one of the
zero
it was
point
for an
0.
episode we were doing. So yeah, Broncos are looking good though. Offensively, I mean, they were running like their run game was just disgusting. I should have put his stats in there, but let me pull them up real quick.
Could have put D's in there.
Stop. Yeah, so insane showing by Javonte Williams, 18 carries for 65 yards and no touchdown. So like no, I mean they spread it
Couldn't
out.
tell if you're being serious.
Samaj Perine had 7 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown, so that's a little bit better. Um, yeah, I don't know, dude. Watching the game, I was like, dang, they've got to have some insane stats. And now I'm checking it, and it's like, wow, this game was
That was
not
a
good.
terrible game. I'm surprised they scored so much. I'm surprised it was 29-12.
Yeah, I think defense is what really got us that game. I mean, we got a safety at the end there, and they just put great pressure on Dorian Thompson Robinson. That's why next week will be really interesting. Broncos play the Texans. Um, it's a big game for a couple reasons. I mean, both teams are on the bubble with a tied record, so this is legit to determine who's on the very edge of playoffs. Both teams are having a decent season. I mean, they're really picking it up. I think they both started in a very negative spot, and now they're on a good win streak. And I feel like both teams have a lot to prove. I mean, Russell Wilson got a lot of hate last season for his first season with the Broncos. He's got to prove that he's still kind of that quarterback that people knew him as when he was in Seattle. And then obviously you've got CJ Stroud, who's proving that he's like the best quarterback in the league, especially as a rookie. Dude, bro, CJ Stroud has put up insane numbers each week.
He's the best quarterback in the league.
Easily. I mean, both teams have a lot to prove. So I think if defense steps up, I don't think we win this Texans game unless both defense and offense are showing up. I think even if defense is holding Texans to like 18, but our offense doesn't do anything, I think we lose that game. Offense got away with it this game. I mean, we got a safety, which
Crazy.
yeah, I think we got like 3 rushing touchdowns, which that's why it was a big rushing week for us, because prior to this game, the first 10 games of the season, we had 1 rushing touchdown total. This game alone, we put up like 2 or 3. So, I mean,
I think
if we can
Vikings got their first one like last week.
yeah, so if we could trust our run game like we did, it takes less pressure or it takes more pressure off of Russell Wilson, um, while giving him more space as a quarterback to run play actions and stuff because now you have to respect the run game. So it was a fun game to watch. I'm happy for the Broncos. They're on an insane run right now. I mean, 6-5, like that's just insane after starting like 1-5. So Super Bowl run. Do you want to talk about the
I
Bears
hope they
Vikings?
lose next week, so that way
Stop.
you guys can get
Stop.
so you guys can get a good draft pick. I want you guys to have a good draft pick.
Yeah,
Do you not want a good
I
draft
hope the
pick?
Broncos or I hope the Bears end up with first and second overall so that they can draft a quarterback. Bears Vikings. Let's talk about it,
Well, I actually do hope that you guys have a good draft pick so you can get a quarterback that isn't 50 years old.
bro. It doesn't matter. He's insane. He's so good. He's the best quarterback in the league after C.J. Stroud.
You're so silly, dude. Um, so Bears Vikings. It was there was a game on Monday night that was played on a football field with players. Um, there's really not much else I can say besides that. Justin Fields, 27 of 37, only 10 incompletions, and he started off like 12 for 12. His first incompletion didn't come until his 13th attempt.
He had a great first drive.
217 yards. I won some money on this because I did say Justin Fields for over 200, DJ Moore for over 50, TJ Hawkinson for 50 plus, and I will talk about why that is crazy in a second. Justin Fields had 0 touchdowns though, 0 interceptions, 3 sacks, which you don't love to see, but
It's
they
going
weren't
down. It used to be like
awful
7.
sacks. Yeah, it used to be like 12 a game.
I will say though, I mean, like
41.9 rating.
the Vikings have like the highest. They're like pass rushing the most out of any team in the league. So to only come
Oh
away with
yeah,
3
and they have
sacks
been.
is pretty impressive. So
Yeah, but the last time they did it, he was out for like 12 years because he
yeah,
dislocated
last
his
time they did
thumb.
it, he hurt himself. I think the fact that Justin Fields walked away injury free in this game is in and of
Which is
itself a win.
crazy because when your dad texted and was like, he almost died on that one. I hadn't seen it yet because I was legit one play behind every
Was that the
time.
fumble one where he got popped?
No, he didn't fumble it, but he like held the ball, was going to run. One dude hits him. He's going this way. Another dude comes and slams him. His body like ragdolls into the ground. I was expecting him to knock it up. I was expecting, and then he like lays there like shaking for a second, and his teammates are like hovering around, and then he just puts his arm up, stands up, and does the next play. I thought for sure he was done. I thought he was out of the game.
Gosh.
Josh Dobbs, I'm not going to say all of his stats besides 4 interceptions and a QBR of 19.3.
Poor guy.
Those 4 interceptions, I would say at least one is on him because he threw into like not heavy coverage, but he did throw in with I want to say the cornerback was lurking, so that one was kind of on him. I'm pretty sure the other 3 were all tipped
Yeah.
by his wide receivers, and it's just insane that
I think
3 of them were not fully his fault.
I think part of it is he was like throwing it so hard that the receivers weren't expecting it. And I think one of them like he had to jump up for it. So it's basically like a volleyball set because the ball's coming in so hard. I will say that first interception where the Bears they lined up on man, but then it was a zone, so they switched receivers right there.
Falls back.
Such a good interception too. I think that was the Vikings' first drive too. Like it was huge.
Well, it was kind of like watching Tua on Friday. Every time Josh Dobbs would throw, he would throw it like where the wide receiver was, not where they were going.
Yeah.
So every single throw, the receiver would have to like stop all their momentum and come back for it. Plus, like you and the announcer said, he was throwing them so hot that when you're moving and then you have to stop and come back to it, all that power, like you're already losing all your momentum, and now you have to come back for this ball that's coming in at 100 miles an hour.
When you're more
Like
likely to
if
get
he
a
led his
ricochet.
receivers, he would have had so much more so many more
Yeah,
completions.
the harder it comes in, the more likely it's going to bounce off your pads and be a catchable ball for anyone on the field.
Yeah, if it's like out in front of them, they're catching it with their hands, it's falling in there, they're able to secure it. But when they're coming back, it's hitting them every single time.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
don't think
yeah, he could
do
have
you think
thrown better, but
do you think this like do you think this proves Josh Dobbs wasn't a guy? Do you think it was just a rough game for Josh? Like what does this tell us about Josh Dobbs? Like do we still think like
it
the
was
Vikings
prime time on a
could
Monday.
he's Kirk Cousins. That's what it is.
No, he's every QB and team that's played on a prime time this season.
I will say so Bears had probably their best defensive game of the season
Oh yeah.
last night. I don't think this like I don't think it's time to count the Vikings out of a playoff run quite yet. I think it was just a rough. They did lose to the Broncos the week before, but again, the Broncos had a great defensive game. So it shows the Vikings struggle against like good defenses, but offensively, like it still wasn't terrible. Vikings defense is still good. I mean, they held the Bears to 12 points, held the Broncos to I think it was like 21 or something. Which granted, these are probably not the two offenses that is a good example of like their defense, but I think the Vikings still have something there that could mean something for the rest of the season, but it was a rough 2 weeks of Vikings football, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think they need to get that slight edge, and the Lions need to keep losing to teams like the Packers.
Stop.
Um, yeah, I mean, it was a primetime game, 4 interceptions, and then I don't know if you can really count the fumble at the end, just because it was the
Oh, I wouldn't
toss
count
back,
that
toss
one.
back.
Yeah, I wouldn't count
I
that one.
wasn't like obviously it counts as a turnover, but I'm like it's
I never count those. That's
no. But the
because then all of
reason,
a sudden you have like your left tackle has one fumble on the game for some reason because
yeah,
they
like it's
lateral to him and he can't pass it 20 yards because he's a lineman.
it is crazy seeing the ball in linemen's hands though because it
Yeah,
looks so small.
tiny.
Like I see them all the like that doesn't look real.
Or it's fun to
But
watch
TJ
the lineman
Hawkinson had
run too.
exactly 50 yards.
Oh yeah.
That it all came on like one drive where he got a super big completion, and then the only touchdown in the game was just enough yards for him to get 50 exact. So I won that, and then I have T.J. Hawkinson, Khalil Herbert, and Justin Fields on my fantasy team. Justin Fields and Khalil Herbert and T.J. Hawkinson were selling. They were the last three players I had. I needed all of them to get like 20 points, like an average of 20 points each. I needed exactly 60 to win. And then Justin Fields started off hot. Khalil Herbert started off with some runs. Went into the fourth quarter down by like 20 or something still. Hawkinson got his touchdown, got exactly 50 yards. Justin Fields started getting some runs, some yards, some completions. Herbert started getting some runs. And I finished by winning with 4. So
Technically won by one because in our league we do points per carry, and because Justin Fields kneeled it 3 times at the end of the game, he got 3 carries. Those are rushes technically, and because it wasn't a negative amount of yards to like take away from his other rushes, because I think it's like every 25 yards you get a point.
325, yeah.
You got a free 3 points at the end there just because he decided they wanted to kneel it 3 times and then kick a field goal to win it. So like you really won by one and then got away with 3 extra points.
A win is a win. I mean, even if I won by one, that's still winning. I won.
Win is a win.
Troy, if you're watching this, I hate you.
All right.
I don't even feel bad about saying that. I hope Troy watches.
Wyoming Cowboys versus Nevada.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you watch this game?
I did watch this game. Watched some of this game. Wyoming Cowboys won by a little bit. It was 42-6. Nevada going in was like 2-7 or something. I mean, It was our first non-home game win, and I think we just finished.
It was our only
8
non-home
and
game
4.
win.
Yeah, we finished 8 and 4, which means we had 7 home games and won every single one. If we didn't have that many home games, we would not have
A bowl.
been positive.
Yeah.
But
What's
going
crazy
into it,
is
I was
one of
like, if
those
we lose to
losses.
Nevada,
Yeah. One of those losses was to Texas, who was like number 3 at the time. Like,
yeah, and going to the fourth quarter, we were tied at like 10 or something.
yeah. So if you
And then
look
we
at
just
those,
gave
like,
up.
if you look at those losses, like, they're not. There's a few pretty bad losses, like Air Force, but I mean, overall, like 8-4, it's insane. It's one of those, like, one of those records where it's like when someone's like, "Oh, bro, the Falcons right now are 4th in the league for the playoff spot." And you're like, "Oh, the Falcons, really? They must be doing pretty good." And then you check their record, and they're like 5-6 or whatever, and like there's like 10 teams with better records than them. But it's like when you like hear about it, when you're like, "Yeah, dude, University of Wyoming went 8-4 this season." You're like, "Dang, they had a really good season." And then you actually look at it, and you're like, "Oh, like they beat the easy teams at home, and they lost to the bad teams away." Like, so I mean, because what, they lost to Air Force. Air Force was only ranked because they beat Wyoming. I'm pretty sure. Like, that's what got
Well,
them.
Air Force when they beat Wyoming was legit like 8-4, which is crazy because I'm pretty sure they haven't won a game since.
No,
I'm pretty sure
yeah,
they're 8-4.
yeah. So
I
like,
said 8-4. They were 8-0, and now they're 8-4. They've lost 4 straight after starting undefeated.
yeah, but that was also the game where the Cowboy or where Air Force's quarterback threw for like 2 yards and they won by like 40. So like,
It's also the game where Wyoming was literally up like 14-0 and lost like 21-14 or
yeah,
something.
yeah, it was a bad one. But I mean,
Um,
a win is a win.
yeah, I mean it was 2 and something Nevada. So if they had lost just because it wasn't a home game, I would have been
That would have
so
been
mad.
nuts. I was half
Uh,
expecting it.
I was too, and then they just destroyed. Peasley was 12 of 18, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, 94 QBR. I think that's the highest I've seen from him. It might be the highest I've seen from anyone. Not a bad game. He's just really not a passing QB.
I was gonna
I
say,
don't
has
think I
he
see him in the NFL because I don't see him throwing a ball. I see him being a running back in the NFL, if
has
anything.
he attempted more than 20 passes this season?
I don't know if he's got more than 12 completions this season.
You keep talking. I wanna research this.
Um, their Nevada's main QB, Shane Illingworth, went 15 27, 175 yards, 1 interception, QBR of 9.2,
Yeah.
which is crazy because the backup QB went 2 of 3, 8 yards, a QBR of 1. So their combined QBR is 10.2.
Yeah, it's rough.
Like, it's just that's disgusting.
All right, here's
But
his
like I said, it was pretty much a free win.
here's Peasley's completion attempt breakdown. Also, I didn't realize this, but the Cowboys started the season 5-0. So there's that. Are they 8-3 now?
Played Texas like
Yeah, Texas isn't showing.
Texas like pretty early in the season.
Texas doesn't show up on the stat sheet. What the heck? ESPN, get it together.
Are you looking at basketball?
No, Andrew Peasley, Cowboys QB, his game log for 2023. It's got.
He didn't play against Texas, dumbass.
That's right. Well, that was uncalled for.
Look at the actual team, bro.
That was a bit uncalled for. I'm looking up his completion stats. Why would I look at the actual team?
Because you're just talking about records and stuff. No, they played Texas game 3. They started.
Well, Peasley started.
2-0.
Peasley started 5-0.
Because he didn't play Texas.
All right. So
that's crazy. We didn't have besides the Texas, we didn't have an away game until week 7.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Peasley went 18-34 week 1. 11-16, 5-15, 16-25, 19-27, 15-25, 10-20, 15-22, 11-22, 14-17, 12-18. So his most passes he attempted was 34. Least amount was
a couple that were almost 30.
Yeah, least amount were 15, and then 25, 27, 25, 20, 22. So he did a few over 20, I'd say. I mean, most of his games were over 20 attempts. My bad, Peasley. I didn't mean to call you out like that.
I was unfamiliar with your game.
So we'll probably lose the bowl game,
Crazy
though,
is
because that'll be
Nevada
away.
sitting at 2-10 isn't even last in the Mountain West standings.
Really? Who is?
New Mexico and San Diego State are somehow lower.
New Mexico? Like, I'm pretty sure. Let's see.
Because the reason is because Nevada's 2 wins
New Mexico State
are against San Diego and New Mexico. So because they lost to Nevada, they are sitting lower than Nevada, even though Nevada's 2-10. They're legit under Nevada, 2-10 Nevada, because both of them lost to Nevada. San Diego State lost 0-6.
Oh
Nevada
my gosh.
legit scored 2 field goals, I'm pretty sure.
That's
just disgusting.
All right, let me see this.
Wyoming is 5th in the Mountain West at 8-4 total, 5-3 in conference.
Oh, okay, so yeah, that's so weird. New Mexico's Mountain West, but like New Mexico State is a different conference. Where was it? New Mexico State is in the USA conference. So
didn't know that was a conference.
Yeah. Anyways, Oregon versus Oregon State, the Civil War rivalry week. Oregon wins 31-7. Great game by Bo Nix. I mean, 33 of 40 for 367 yards and 2 touchdowns. Does that fit into your great game? Dang it! I mean, yeah, 33 completions for 33 completions for 367 yards is wild. They all had to just be like
put up 3
2
touchdowns
yards
with 200 yards, but he can't put up more than 2 with almost 400 yards.
Oregon State's got a good defense, though. I mean, they held Washington.
4 touchdowns, 3. Did he have 1 rushing or 2 rushing?
I don't remember. I don't know what you're talking about. Win in his life?
Last week.
Oh, the Oregon State game or the last week? The Arizona State.
The one that just happened.
The Oregon State game?
Yes.
God.
The game that we are talking about right now. Why would I be talking about a different game?
Because, dude, you don't make sense most of the time.
Why would I bring up him rushing for a touchdown in a different game than the one we're talking about right now?
I don't know. I don't understand what you do sometimes.
He had a rushing touchdown. It was 16 yards
on
a 4th down, I'm pretty sure.
There. Are you happy?
That I had to do all the work for things that you looked up?
What do you mean all the work? I didn't look up anything. Anyways, he's only thrown 2 interceptions this season. I just make these numbers up.
Okay, it was a 1st and 10. I could have swore it was 4th downs, but 1st and 10 he ran for 16.
So 3 touchdowns total.
Yeah.
And then DJ
Moore?
His name's like Iagalele. That's not a typo. Yeah. That's how it's spelled.
I didn't think it was a typo.
It's a really cool name.
I didn't know how to say it.
He had a decent game. I mean, 19 and 35 for 220 yards, touchdown and an interception. Not terrible. I mean, not the best, but
decent enough to win.
Not good enough to win. It's a big win for Oregon though because it keeps them right on the edge. I think they're number 5 now for AP polls. 6. I think they're still at 6. I think they still have Florida State above us just because Florida State's still undefeated. But this keeps Oregon in for playoffs. Pac-12 championship is Oregon versus Washington, number 4 ranked Washington. So that'll be a big one. I don't see them letting like the loser of that one in the playoffs. I don't know. I could see it where if Oregon wins that, they give Oregon the playoff spot and Washington's out. Just because Oregon has had a bigger point differential for the season. But, I mean, who knows? It's a group of guys who could probably hate Oregon and just not let them in.
They still haven't updated the Heisman tracker.
Really? It's insane. All right.
This says for Heisman watch, it's down to Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels.
I could see that. I don't really think any other quarterbacks are keeping it close with them.
How reliable the source is or how they're deciding that, but it says between Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels.
I mean, Bo Nix's season stats are insane. He's got almost 4,000 yards, 37 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. Someone pointed out that he's got similar stats to Marcus Mariota for his Heisman year too.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't have any competition.
I mean, yeah, but
name one other person. I mean, he was the only candidate for the entirety of the season, but
2014. Let's see what the 2014 Heisman race was. Let's check this out. I thought Jameis Winston was all right. So you got Melvin Gordon, amazing. Amari Cooper, Trayvon Boykin, he's good. JT Barrett, Jameis Winston, Tevin Coleman, Dak Prescott.
What?
Yeah, I saw Dak Prescott. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, Dak Prescott was the same Heisman. He was a sophomore. Dak Prescott was a year below Marcus Mariota. Wait, nope. He was a junior. I was reading Scooby right. They were the same year. Well, because I read it and I was like, wait, it says linebacker. Dak Prescott played a linebacker? And I was like, wait, nope. I'm stupid.
You went from a linebacker to an NFL QB?
Bro, listen how close this race was. Marcus Mariota got first with 788 votes for first place. Melvin Gordon got second with 37 votes for first place.
I knew it wasn't going to be close. You said, listen how close, and I was like, it's not even going to be a little close.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then the 2015 Heisman winner was Derrick Henry with Christian McCaffrey right behind him.
Oh, wow.
This is actually a crazy Heisman class. So it was Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield, Keenan Reynolds, Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, and then Connor Cook and Trayvon Boykin. But that's like so many running backs. That's 3, 4, 5 running backs who are now in the NFL.
It's an elite class.
That's a good Heisman class. What was 26?
I was thinking, I was like, wait, I thought Baker won it, but he
came close a couple times.
No, he was the first overall drafted. That's what I was thinking of.
Bro, Christian McCaffrey got second as a sophomore. That's actually nuts.
I would get first as a freshman.
Jameis Winston got it first as a freshman in 2013. But do you want to hear who he was going against?
So he was on track to win it twice?
Yeah. This is the 2013 Heisman class. Jameis Winston wins it as a freshman. He beats A.J. McCarron, Jordan Lynch, Andre Williams, Johnny Manziel, Trey Mason, Bryce Petty, Derek Carr, Braxton Miller, and Kadeem Carey.
So now he plays under Derek Carr.
He just got a free Heisman trophy.
They're like, yeah, we actually don't need to vote at all.
Oh, I love looking at Heisman. 2012, Johnny Manziel got it in 2012 as a freshman. Holy cow! Who else was? Yeah, these Heisman classes are terrible. Johnny Manziel, Manti Te'o, Colin Klein, Marquise Lee, Braxton Miller, Jadeveon Clowney, Jordan Lynch, Tavon Austin, Kenjon Barner, and Jarvis Jones.
What's crazy is we're hating on all these people. They were probably like insane in the NFL.
Yeah,
we're just too casual and too young to know.
I don't know if they were, because like what, that was Johnny Manziel's class. Like I remember when Johnny Manziel was in the NFL, and none of these dudes were like doing anything.
There was so much hype behind Johnny Manziel. I couldn't tell you what he actually like did in the NFL. I know he didn't play long, and I know his career was wasted, but like The only reason I know about it is because it was so hyped that Johnny Manziel was in the NFL.
This one's interesting. So 2011, Robert Griffin III wins. Okay, he beats Andrew Luck, Trent Richardson, Monte Ball, Tyrann Mathieu, Matt Barkley.
Tyrann Mathieu was in the 2011.
Yeah, as a sophomore. Case Keenum, Kellen Moore, Russell Wilson, and LaMichael James.
You said Andrew Luck?
Yeah, Andrew Luck got second.
I forget so much that Andrew Luck is not like a super old QB that's from like the early 2000s.
I forget
that he played in the NFL for like 3 seasons, got sacked too many times that he was like, no, I have to retire because my body hurts.
I forget that Andrew Luck hasn't been 30 for his whole life. I can't picture Andrew Luck in like college.
I look at Andrew Luck and I'm like, oh, this guy is 40 and he's been playing in the NFL for 25 years. It's like, no, he played for 3 seasons.
So 2010 Heisman, Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, LaMichael James, Kellen Moore, Justin Blackmon, Denard Robinson, Ryan Mallett, Colin Kaepernick, Andy Dalton, and then Owen Marecic. So yeah, dude, Heisman voting. Can you guess who won Heisman in 2000? Oh my gosh!
I could just for you to go back to the beginning of the Heisman.
Just keep working our way back for the rest of the episode.
Like, what was it that we last time I was at your house? You kept naming them off.
Yeah, I don't remember. Like, it was the sexiest man or whatever.
Yeah, and like every single one, and you're like, so yeah, that was for this year. So last year, and you just kept going and going.
Gosh, yeah, that was. I do rabbit holes too much.
Like you're autistic.
That's exactly what it is. News around the world.
You know what I just realized?
The world around. What?
We didn't introduce ourselves.
Oh my gosh, we gotta scrap this whole episode. You're right. Holy cow.
I was like, I never said my name was. I never said I'm the other guy. Cullen.
People aren't gonna know what a podcast this is now.
Right, because they don't know the average Jose's thing. Because you said that, you just didn't say their name.
I know. All right, we had some big games in college this week, especially with college playoffs getting closer. Number 3 Michigan played number 2 Ohio State. It's probably the biggest game of the week. I mean, both these teams are in the playoffs. It had huge repercussions for a lot of reasons. Michigan wins that game 30-24, beating Ohio State 30-24 because Michigan won 30-24 against Ohio State, who lost 30-24.
It was a BS game.
No, it wasn't. Ohio State
was.
What are you saying it's a BS game for?
Because I watched it.
What about it was BS?
That Ohio State lost.
Okay, you have no takes. AP poll now
has... That is my take.
That's a terrible take. You have no evidence to back.
Finding it.
Finding what? Someone else's opinion for you to shout?
What does that even mean?
That you don't have your own opinion and you're just basing this off something you read on Twitter.
What does Twitter have to do with
What are you trying to find right now?
The play-by-play.
Why do you need a play-by-play?
Because I don't remember word for word, bar for bar what happened in the game.
Ohio State lost. That's what happened. Ohio State is now...
I was watching it, and it was just like... I was like, no.
What?
Everything, bro. That last interception was BS.
How was that BS? You think it wasn't a catch?
I don't think he caught it.
That was such a clear catch. He had both arms under the ball and he side rolled. Oh my gosh.
It's whatever. I mean, Ohio State's still number 1.
No, we're watching this clip now. We're watching this clip because that's it's so loud. Yeah, hang on. YouTube has ads. We have to get through all these ads. Hang on, just wait.
Want to hear something funny?
Right. What?
I was just kidding. I don't think that it wasn't a catch.
Look at this. Look at that. That was such a catch.
Hold on, I'm waiting for it to catch up. Okay.
He had both arms under that
I'm seeing
ball.
like 5 frames. I'm not even sure if we're watching Michigan right now.
Nah, that was a catch. It was a good game,
I
though.
wouldn't know because you're on like 0 Wi-Fi.
So. Michigan won. Ohio State's now at number 6 on AP polls. Still waiting to see.
I think that's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge
You
drop.
lose to a super like top team and you drop to 6th after being 2nd. Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, still waiting to see like what the playoff rankings are because those are supposed to come out like today. I'm pretty sure, but Ohio State's head coach is now 1-3 against Michigan, and everyone is calling for Ryan Day to be fired because he can't beat Michigan.
Like he could probably beat these.
Stop. Blake Corum had 22 carries for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns. Pretty good run game. Ohio State got called for 1 penalty for 5 yards, which is just hilarious because all the Ohio State fans on Twitter were like, all the penalty calls were in Michigan's favor. The rest were clearly helping Michigan. It was like Ohio State got called for a 5-yard penalty. Michigan got called for I think 3 penalties for 60 or something yards. Maybe it was 30. But yeah, okay. But I mean, it was a good game all around. Michigan definitely proved I think after this, Michigan's now the favorite to win the college championship. So
what are you doing Friday?
Watching the Oregon-Washington game.
You could be watching it in Las Vegas, Nevada, because we're going, baby.
We could have been in Vegas. That would have been crazy.
We can. It says tickets as low as $44.
Still? No. There's no way tickets are at $44 right now for that game.
This is Vivid Seats. We can get 1 to 6 tickets, row 8, section 431. I mean, it's not going to be great views, but $45 a ticket
for a
in
Las
Vegas, Nevada, to watch Oregon, Washington play.
But what would a flight look like?
I'll start driving right now. I
don't have a car.
I said I'll start driving right
now. Oh.
You have to fly.
Dang. Let's see. When would we leave? We would leave. I guess it wouldn't be round trip. That'd be the hard part. Is then we got to figure out how to I have to buy 2 tickets. Left Friday. $114 to fly out there on Friday. But I guess we'd probably leave the day before. It's $100. We'll talk. Number 8, Alabama beat Auburn. Did you watch that one?
No, I saw the last play, but that's the only thing I saw from it.
So Alabama wins 27-24 in the final play of the game. Well, I guess not final play of the game because Auburn got the ball and then almost threw a pick 6. But Alabama won. It was 4th and goal on the 31 because of penalties and sacks and stuff. They just threw it as far as he could at a dude who is on one-on-one coverage. Insane catch, insane throw, wins the game.
In the very corner of the end zone, barely makes it. It was insane.
What's insane is they rushed, I want to say, 3 guys, which, first off, why would you not put more pressure on a quarterback? 4th and goal, they have to score. Rush 3 guys.
So they're trying to cover that Hail Mary in the end zone. It's the only thing they can do.
Then, this was the worst part. They left a QB spy just standing in the middle of the field. Yeah, Auburn had a QB spy. 4th and goal, 31 yards, had a QB spy with the rest of their coverage in the end zone because that's where all the receivers are, right? So he's just standing there. If you run, I'm going to get you. It's not going to, the quarterback's not going to start running and then, 7 dudes are going to be able to come,
Yeah, by the time he gets, obviously he'll pick up probably 10, 15, even 20 yards.
Doesn't matter.
All the other defenders are coming up and should be able to get him.
Yeah, so they have 4 guys on the line there, right? 7 guys in the end zone. 7 guys in the end zone. And it was still one-on-one coverage in the corner over there. That's the insane part to me. Say it's 7 guys. If Alabama has 5 linemen and the QB, right? That's 6 dudes right there, right? And they
Six
send
dudes.
they send 5 of their guys down to the end zone. Okay, that's a 5-on-7 matchup. And you're letting it be a one-on. That was just insane to me, dude. Auburn deserved to lose after that. So,
Well, I'm pretty sure this is from the same game. I saw a clip of it. Like I said, I didn't watch the game, but I saw clips. Alabama has the ball. I don't think it's the same drive. Near the end zone, the QB is like rolling out with it, looking to throw, passes the line of scrimmage by like 5 yards or something, and then throws the
oh yeah,
ball.
Alabama did it twice. He did it twice. He was way past the line of scrimmage, dude. Like
he was like 5 yards past it, stops, throws it, and was like, and I was like, is this real? Is this a I was like, did a group of guys just like put on some pads to look like Alabama?
yeah, it was an
It was
insane
so
game.
funny.
I mean, dude, that was wild. I think Alabama still has a chance at college playoff, but they need like a lot of people to lose.
Yeah, it's like a 1% chance or something.
So we'll probably see Nick Saban at a lot of halftimes begging to get into the playoffs again this year.
Hey,
Number
last year it happened, and everyone was mad that Alabama wasn't in the playoffs.
yeah, because they saw the TCU Georgia game.
Yeah, because they watched and they're like, "This is awful. We want Alabama." Actually,
It'd be funny if he just comes on and he just says TCU Georgia. Never forget.
what happened last season? And everyone's like, "Put Alabama in there."
Number 10, Louisville beat Kentucky. Just kidding. Kentucky beat number 10 Louisville. 38-31. I was like, why did I put this in here? Number 10 one. Kentucky beats Louisville though. Crazy because this basically ruins Louisville's chances for a playoff spot. Kentucky's QB went 12 of 22 for 206 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. So he had a pretty good showing. But Louisville had 114 more yards than Kentucky.
That's why you got to be better, bro.
Exactly.
Yards don't mean anything.
Heard it here first. Be better.
Well, I honestly, yards don't mean anything. I forget. I want to say it was last week when we were doing this. One team had like an extra 200 yards or something and lost by like a lot. Like it straight does not matter how many yards you have. It's about touchdowns. You could score a touchdown from the 10 every time. You could have 40 total yards in the game, but you have 4 touchdowns for 28 points. Like if your defense is playing and getting the ball back and you're just constantly getting short touchdowns, yards do not mean a single thing.
No, yeah, like if you're never doing anything with it, like it doesn't. You could march it all the way to the goal line and then get a turnover or something. Like
yeah.
So I mean, that's a big loss for Louisville. Yeah, that's tough. But you want to talk about some NFL games?
Alrighty. Honestly, this saved my fantasy week too. Bills versus Eagles. Eagles won 37-34. The reason this saved my fantasy week is Eagles kicker, what's his face, going into like the fourth quarter had 3 points, I think. I'm pretty sure he had 3 points, and it was only because they had 3 touchdowns and he made the PATs. At the very, very end of the game, to tie it up at 31 to go into overtime, he kicks a like 58-yarder or something. In our fantasy league, a field goal of 50 plus is 5 points. So that put him at
He kicked a bomb of a field goal, bro.
Yeah, put him at 8, and then they go into overtime. Bills kick a field goal, get it 34. He almost does it again. They get to the range where it would be like a 50-yarder. He could tie it up, go into another overtime. I was praying for that to happen because that would be 5 more points to put him at 13 points as a kicker. Unfortunately, they scored a touchdown, and he did not kick another field goal because it was overtime and the touchdown won it. But yeah, that was insane. I just really like to talk about my fantasy team, if you couldn't tell, as I bring it up every time we discuss things. Josh Allen is now 0-6 in overtime, even after they changed the rules because people were complaining about Josh Allen
That's insane.
not
Nice.
getting chances in
Oh,
overtime.
it's 6.
No, what's insane is the Patriots game. I told you I needed to go into overtime, so that way Saquon could get more. The kicker misses the field goal. It doesn't go in overtime. It finishes 10-7. After he did that, I was like, no one ever goes into OT. Like every week I should bet for no overtimes.
Yeah.
And then I was like, honestly, I bet Josh Allen's going to go into overtime because he's like I was like, no one goes in overtime besides Josh Allen. I
Yeah.
never see overtimes unless it's Josh Allen. That same day, Josh Allen goes into overtime for the 6th time in his career and loses again. It was I spoke it into existence without speaking words.
Yeah, it's kind of insane that this dude's struggling so much. I feel so bad. It's almost guaranteed that he loses.
Oh yeah.
That's insane, dude. It was
if
a
it's
good
in
game.
overtime, I'm like, oh cool. Which I was also thinking about. I think when it was happening in college, if Josh Allen went in overtime, it was like, oh, this is gonna be an insane 4 overtimes, and he is probably gonna win. And now that it's NFL, it's like, yeah,
but I mean, that's because in
win.
college, they could score, and then Josh Allen would still have a chance to score and tie it up. Now it's like Eagles scored, game over. I mean, Bills had the ball first, so if he scored, it would have ended it. And I don't know how they didn't score. I think they got to the 30 or whatever.
A field goal.
Yeah, I don't know how they didn't get a touchdown. They got to the 30 or whatever, and I was like, bro, how are you not finishing this drive? Come on. So that was insane. The time of possession was disgusting. Bills had it for 40 minutes compared to the Eagles at 27 minutes.
It was an awful game until the very end.
Which, I mean, that's what the Chiefs did to beat Jalen Hurts, was they just kept the ball out of his hands.
They just held on to it, yeah.
They just didn't let the Eagles have possession. So, I mean, the fact that the Eagles can still put up 37 points with that big of a difference in possession time is a good sign for what they can do this season, and that they've been working on it, because now they're making the most out of every single drive they have. So it's like, great, you had the ball for 40 minutes. Guess what? We put up 37 points in 27 minutes. So I feel like that's something they've been working on a lot since that Super Bowl loss, because they're like, all right, we need to make it to where anytime we have the ball, we're going to put points on the board, because we're not wasting possessions after that. So I think it's cool. I think that's just cool to see that they're improving on that. Yeah, I mean, closest call the Eagles have had besides their one loss, and
besides the time that they didn't win the
lost
game.
to the Jets.
Which is still crazy. I can't believe the Jets did that. Hurts had 200 even passing yards, which I don't know. I don't see Hurts as a passer. Obviously he has. Is it AJ Brown that had 125 average per game or something? Was it Brown?
Yeah, that's one of his go-to.
So I mean, 200's not great, but he's also a running quarterback. Josh Allen, 29 for 51. Attempted 51 passes, which is insane.
You saw that. I was like, what? That's
39 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. But he also carried it 9 times.
He was their top rusher.
81 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's their top rusher. All right, so Jalen Hurts,
4 total touchdowns and over 400 total yards.
Jalen Hurts in that game, the pass stats, like you said, he also had 14 carries for 65 yards, but 2 rushing touchdowns, which one of them was to win the game. Yeah, he's definitely more of a split QB, where you won't see one side of those stats being super heavy. You wouldn't see a 400-yard passing game and 2-yard rushing game. You would see a 200, 100 type. He'll probably put up 300, 400 total, most likely, but it's going to be very split. I also didn't realize Jalen Hurts went to Oklahoma. I forgot. Yeah, so that was a good game. Shows that the Bills still have a lot of promise in them this season. I mean, that's probably their toughest game of the season, I'd say. And they sent it into overtime.
They have promise, but they're not winning games. So.
Right, that's the hard part.
They're competing with the Dolphins, so.
Yeah, they're almost as good as the Broncos.
Have promise, they just have to start winning games.
Yeah,
they can't go to playoffs if they don't start winning these games that they show promise in. but they can't finish.
Just way too close for it to, yeah. Packers Lions. That was a game. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I called it.
You knew the
going
Packers were
into it,
winning.
I was like, I feel like the Packers have this win.
Did you take the Packers?
Already beat the Packers.
You did take the Packers. Oh, I gave you the Packers.
You gave
that's
me
why.
the Packers. But like even just like sports betting, I was like, I think I'm gonna take the Packers. Like, I didn't because all the other games I didn't know enough, but I did call Packers. Lions are 0-13 on Thanksgiving.
Win
for the waxing Kibis moon.
Thank you.
Which is insane that we saw the stat before the game started. We all made fun of it. He still bet on the Lions, and the Lions held true to not winning on Thanksgiving with a waxing gibbous moon. So clearly, all this astronomy stuff is real, and we need to stop making fun of all the astronomy people.
It matters.
Goff went 29-44 for 332 yards and 2 touchdowns. I saw an in-game bet that was like, oh, Goff for like 160 yards in the second half. And I was like, there's no way he's doing that. Going in the second half, I think he had 80 yards, and he finished with 332. So
he had good yards.
Do that.
He threw 2 touchdowns. The 29 out of 44 is kind of a gross number, but
yeah,
I mean, he's not bad.
Better than Josh Allen's.
Yeah.
Josh Allen had 29 completions, but 7 more attempts.
Yeah, but he also has 7 more yards.
For each attempt
more,
he got an
extra attempt, he threw an extra yard. So that means that Josh Allen's QBR is probably 10 times better.
No. Jordan Love. Hate him.
MVP.
22, 32, 286 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, how are you not even going to pass 300 yards? You trash. And Love still sucks and shouldn't be on the team. And then the Lions had 3 turnovers. So.
You think that Jordan Love's, so we're going to start seeing more out of him this season? You think like he's finally...
I think he should be off the team, probably.
Yeah, we won't even talk about it.
I think we should just dissolve the Packers.
We can just move on. It's fine. We can move on. And now, the weekly Cowboys disappointment tracker. Cowboys play the Commanders this week. Cowboys obviously won 45-10.
That's not obvious.
Dak went 22 out of 32 for 331 yards and 4 touchdowns. Still no interception, which means he's sitting at 6 interceptions for the season. I included it this week because we talked about it.
Interception tracker.
Our interception tracker. If you guys remember, he said, I will throw less than 10 interceptions this season.
Which means he's 3 left in 5 games remaining.
And in those 5 games, he's playing Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, and Lions, who all their defenses are
always skip teams.
I saw the Seahawks. The Seahawks game doesn't matter.
You don't think he can throw an interception against the Seahawks?
I don't think he will. Seahawks defense isn't there. Cowboys are currently 8-3. But they have not beat a team who has a winning record this season. All the teams they've beaten don't have a winning record currently. I don't know what it was when they beat them. Maybe they had a winning record. Who knows? But are they the Dolphins of the NFC?
Are the Dolphins of the NFL?
I mean, if the Dolphins are the Dolphins, the NFL's in the NFL. Yeah, I can see it. Cowboys Seahawks. I would say that I feel pretty good about a Cowboys win there, but I want to point out
they lost to Arizona.
I also want to point out that this is a Thursday night game.
A trash game. Actually, yes, I do remember that it's a Thursday game because the guy I'm playing, almost his entire team is Cowboys, and since it's a Thursday primetime game, I'm hoping they're gonna have just a terrible 4 points each, do nothing.
It's gonna be so bad, dude. So, but we've got some big news when it comes to the NFL. Colin,
yes, we do.
Do you want to talk about this? You were so excited.
I was. Hold on. I have to find the exact day.
Breaking
So on
news.
Monday,
As of Monday.
the Carolina Panthers fired head coach Frank Reich.
Get him out of
Reich, I
there.
don't know. Which makes them the second NFL team this season to fire a head coach mid-season.
Yeah,
Raiders did it already.
Raiders, that's right. That's right.
But so that's the big news. That is big news that Panthers, as of right now, don't have an actual head coach.
I mean, starting 1-10 would do that to you for sure.
I need them to not do good with this next coach. I need them to stay at 1-16. We do have some news that ex-Panthers tight end, I lost his name. Greg Olsen. I lost his name and I was blanking in my head. Greg Olsen said
not the website that sells pictures of Jesus.
No, not the Jesus selling. The Fox analyst, former tight end Greg Olsen, said he would be interested to be the head coach if the owner of the Panthers reached out to him and talked to him about it. So
how funny would it be if
potentially we could see him as head coach of the
How funny would it be if they hired him and then they go 0-10 to start, or 0-11 to start next season?
That would be funny.
Somehow does worse when the other guy did 1-10. They're like,
no, I honestly I don't see him being like a good head coach. I just think it's crazy that he was just like, I will be your head coach. If you
it reminds me of when the Jets were looking for a quarterback, and RG3 was like, yeah, man, like there's a lot of like veteran quarterbacks like myself who feel like they could play right now, like myself included, could play for a team like the Jets right now. Myself on the Jets, as well as other quarterbacks. I feel like I'm ready to play football again if the Jets wanted me, as well as other quarterbacks, put me on the Jets.
I have some more news.
Oh.
Carolina Panthers owner David Tepper, the guy that Greg Olsen said he would say yes if he reached out to him, admits that the team originally intended to draft CJ Stroud.
Oh my gosh.
Which sucks to hear if you're Bryce Young.
That's terrible,
the
bro.
owner of your team just came out and was like, we didn't want that guy.
I think so. I think too many people are hating on Bryce Young, though. I mean, if you watch some of the,
no one's expecting what CJ Stroud is doing. No one's expecting a rookie to come in and just be insane. Like, it's crazy that
if you're
CJ
watching
doing
his receivers, bro, I saw one clip. His receiver jumped out of bounds while trying to catch the ball, and I was like, "What are you doing?" Like, I think that one stat, it was like he's like the most accurate quarterback, and he's also the quarterback whose receivers have the least separation on like defenders. So he's got the smallest windows, and he's still somehow getting them in there. So he's not a bad quarterback. The Panthers also don't have anyone. They don't have any pass protection. I think that Bryce Young has a good shot at being a decent NFL quarterback if you just get him the tools to do so. That'd be crazy.
Straight to the Bears. David Tepper confirmed that they were supposed to trade to number 2 with the Texans so they could take CJ Stroud because they believe that Houston would have taken Bryce Young at number 1. He said that they were totally confident in that pick, but my thinking is, how much can we actually believe him?
Yeah.
How much can we be
Is it like a LeBron thing?
He totally meant to, or he was like, well,
is it like a LeBron thing where he's like, yeah, I knew CJ Stroud was going to be amazing.
Yeah.
How funny would it be if they're like, all right, let's trade our pick to the Texans. We know the Texans will take Bryce Young. We'll get CJ Stroud, and we get whatever we get out of the trade. It's a beautiful deal. So the Texans are like, you guys want to give us your first round pick, and we just got to give you like a player in a second round? Sure, I guess. So they do it, and it's like, do. And with the first pick of the NFL draft, the Texans select CJ Stroud. Like, they still like pick CJ Stroud overall.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, how can you be confident that they wanted Bryce Young? You don't know what they're planning. It's not like you're like, do you guys want Bryce Young? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, we're gonna get him instead. So that's actually
that's so funny.
Plus, it's like, you have the number 1 pick. Why didn't you just pick CJ Stroud?
Yeah, you had the number 1. If you were thinking about it, bro, just do it. Like, yeah, that's why I'm like
How
like,
serious is that? Because you have the number. You can pick whoever you want. It's not just because Bryce Young is a number one prospect. We should get him.
It'd be so funny if they were like, "Hey CJ, we wanted you," and then all of a sudden CJ Stroud's like, it's like CJ Stroud, breaking news, opts out of his contract and goes to the Panthers.
Goes to Panthers.
Like what? He's like, "Oh, you guys wanted me? Oh,
no one's ever wanted me before." I heard the Texans wanted Bryce Young.
They told me after they got me. You're on thin ice, CJ. We wanted Bryce Young. You're on thin ice. That was like the first thing they told him.
And then he doesn't say, and they're like, "Oh shoot."
All right, let's speed run the rest of this news around the world. Champions League match day 5 is today, so we won't have anything for you guys this week. Hopefully next week, though. NBA, there's actually been some big changes in the NBA. In the West, the Timberwolves are leading 12-4 with the Thunder at second, 11-5. Nuggets are third now. The Lakers are 10-8 for our weekly LeBron hate tracker. Here's the insane part.
Now.
Yeah, here's the insane part. Celtics are on top at 13-4, with the Magic, Bucks, and Sixers right behind at 12-5. The Orlando Magic are on like a 5-game win streak or something. Like, out of nowhere. Insane. In-season tournament-wise, the Lakers, Pelicans, Kings, Pacers, Bucks, and Magic all lead their groups, with the start of the tournament coming on Monday next week. So teams better lock it in if they have any games left, because it's coming up soon. As for the NHL, the Bruins are leading their division in the East at 14-4-3, and the Rangers are leading theirs at 15-4-1, and the Colorado Avalanche are leading their division at 15-6 in the West, and the Knights 14-5-3 in their division. The Avs are currently
stepped it up.
They're on a 4-game win streak right now, so
I noticed that. So
it's pretty big. College championships are happening this weekend on Friday, December 1st, Friday. We have the Conference USA Championship between New Mexico State and Liberty, and the Pac-12 Championship between Oregon and Washington. In Nevada, tickets are $47. Get yours today. December 2nd.
No.
Saturday.
We got to get that. On sale.
Big 12 Championship, Oklahoma State versus Texas. Mid-American is Miami, Ohio versus Toledo. Mountain West, Boise State versus UNLV. They had to use like computers to figure this one out because they had no idea who should do it. The American, yeah, they had to like get like an algorithm out because they're like, we don't know, because I think it was like 4 teams that could have been in. For the American Championship, we got SMU versus Tulane. Southeast is Georgia versus Alabama. Sunbelt is App State versus Troy. And Southwestern is Prairie View A&M versus Florida A&M. Atlantic Coast is Florida State versus Louisville. And the Big Ten Championship is Iowa versus Michigan.
Do you think if Georgia loses to Alabama, Alabama's just like automatically in the playoffs?
I could see that. I could see a Alabama win getting Alabama into the playoffs. I think that's the only
taking down the number 1 team,
and they still have a semi-decent record. I mean, like
they only lost that one game.
One loss, yeah. I think they only have 1 loss. Yeah, so I could see
Washington's third with a loss.
I think
Washington didn't lose. I was thinking of Oregon. Never mind.
I think a Washington loss, and a Michigan loss, and a Florida State loss, and a Georgia loss. I think if all 4 top teams lose,
I think if everyone above Alabama loses, Alabama's in for sure.
Yeah, I think if you see that, I don't know. Dude, it's hard. I could see it being like, oh, they beat Georgia, put them in at 4. I could also see it being like, yeah, they beat Georgia, but like all these other teams are still undefeated. You know, like
yeah.
I don't know. It would be interesting. This is like the year to have a 12-team playoff. Like there's so many good teams.
And Oregon.
Yeah. And Oregon. So yeah. And for the first time in history, we have a guest. Give it up for Coach, everybody. Woo! We'll put in like some applause there. So now we probably won't. We don't have a budget.
Our government names and he doesn't.
Sorry. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Coach. I'm Jeremiah's dad.
That's even worse somehow. Wow.
Wow, bro ruined it right off the rip.
Yes, my dad's on the pod. So please submit yourselves so we don't have to,
Yeah, get somebody else better in here.
So first off, we got some next week in sports for you guys to wrap it up. You want to talk about NFL games, Colin? You typically do.
I might as well. Seahawks versus Cowboys.
Game of the week. That's America's game.
Is it actually?
No, I just said it because the Cowboys were in that one.
I figured. Thursday game, so Dallas is about to put up 4 total points, and I just won fantasy. Broncos versus Texans. This is a game.
Is a Dallas game in Dallas or in Seattle?
I don't know.
I believe it's in Dallas.
I think it's in Dallas.
They're going to beat Seattle by like 30.
Oh, what? I need you to stop talking, bro. For one, it's prime time. For two,
prime time game.
Every person the person I'm playing this week has is a Dallas player, pretty much. He pretty much has the Dallas team for fantasy.
Dallas has beaten every team at home by 20 points or more.
But have they won every home game?
Yeah.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way the Cowboys and Cowboys are the same.
Look it up. Every home game they've won.
1 win, 2.
They have 8 wins.
3, 4, 5. Yeah, they have their 5 home games. They've won all of them.
And by an average of 20 or more.
Wow.
Yeah, 45 to 10, 49 to 17, 43 to 20.
Dang.
Is the primetime curse going to affect this one, though?
Or are they going to break it?
They better not. I'm telling you, the dude I'm playing in fantasy, his entire team is the Cowboys. I need the Cowboys to not do good.
We'll see.
It's the first game to look forward to. Colin, you want to keep going?
Yeah, Broncos Texans. This is a must-win for both team.
Both team? Single team?
Yeah, I didn't say the S, and I just kept going. Brain lag. Broncos need it if they have any shot of getting.
You think the Broncos keep a 6-game win streak going?
I mean, they've beat worse teams, so. And then the Texans need it because their division isn't like stacked, but they do have competition. They need to get that win. Both sitting at 6 and 5.
Yeah, both are on the bubble. Both are at the top of the bubble. So
yeah, so both teams need a win.
It's the battle of the bubble.
A super close game. It's gonna be hard to pick one.
It'll be a hard pick for sure.
49ers Eagles.
This is the conference championship.
That's game of the week right there.
It should be. This will test the Eagles if they're a real team. This will also test 49ers to see if they can compete against a real team. It should be a really good game. I don't see it being super high scoring, though. I see it being mainly defensive on 49ers side and them holding the ball.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out.
Hard part is I see Jalen Hurts proves he can do pretty good against a tough defense. I don't know if Brock Purdy has it in him to fight against the Eagles. So Chris McCaffrey could just put up 5 touchdowns because they don't want to pass it whatsoever.
He'll probably have 300 scrimmage yards.
Yeah, it's only going to be him doing anything.
Then he'll be done for the rest of the year.
Please stop.
Stop. He's going to be the reason you win this week. Bengals versus Jaguars. I don't really see this being a super good game, all around.
Skill-wise.
Jags will have a good game because the Jags are showing more and more every week. But Bengals are just, their season's over. Joe Burrow's out. Their defense isn't playing for anything. I think Jags win this game, and I don't think it'll even be that close.
Did you see that the Bengals have to give the NFL a bunch of video stating that Joe Burrow's wrist was healthy before the game started? It's like the NFL's thinking that he was hurt before the game started.
Because he was. Crazy because he showed up in a brace.
A video of him with the brace on that they quickly deleted.
That's
so
insane.
Now the Bengals have to submit a whole bunch of video.
Well, yeah, have any designation going into it.
That designation, so the other team can't plan for that, and that messes with betting too. Because now all of a sudden everyone's got money on Bengals and Burrow and stuff, and then he's actually not playing or he's hurt or whatever. That's crazy. Rest of the week we got number 6 Oregon playing number 4 Washington, Pac-12 championship. Oregon's a 9.5 favorite in this game. This is a must-win for both teams if they want to stay in the playoffs or get into the playoffs. This is also a big game for Alabama because we were saying how if Washington loses this, Alabama has more of a chance to get in. So Alabama fans, this will be a big one to watch for sure. Friday night. Then we got number 20 Oklahoma State versus number 7 Texas. Texas is opening at a 14.5 favorite.
That's insane.
I don't think Texas still has a chance at the playoffs, though, do they?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But I mean, anytime
number 7, Alabama's number 8.
That's fair. Yeah. Anytime Oklahoma State and Texas play, though, it's always a good game. So I mean, it would be interesting to see if they let Arch Manning do more of this game too. Depending on what it looks like fourth quarter, get more of a look at him. Probably one of the biggest ones this week, though, is number 1 Georgia versus number 8 Alabama. Georgia opening at a 6-point favorite. This is a huge game. Georgia is probably Georgia's toughest matchup of the season. Because I don't think Ole Miss is. I don't know. Alabama's so tough this year, bro. Like to figure out. But I think as long as Alabama's quarterback knows rely on the scrimmages, that they have a good chance at giving them a run for their money.
As long as he's not passing it when he's already ran 20 yards, I think they'll be good.
Yeah. So Alabama fans, this is a game to watch if you like Alabama.
What's going to happen to the playoffs when Alabama beats Georgia?
We'll probably see Nick Saban
Alabama's number 1
at every halftime begging to get in again.
Yeah, we're going to get Alabama and Georgia. Somebody's going to get hosed.
Could you imagine? I don't know. So the rest games, number 3 Michigan versus number 17 Iowa. Michigan's 23-point favorite. I'm pretty sure there's what's even crazier is Iowa has opened as a first half over-under of 0.5 points and a second half over-under of 0.5 points, I believe. Maybe it's 0.5 touchdowns. But either way, they're opening at terrible, terrible lines. Like, no one thinks Iowa's doing anything in a conference championship. And then number 10, Louisville versus number 5, FSU. Florida State's a 2.5 favorite in this game. This is a huge one for them. The playoff rankings came out, and Florida State's sitting at number 5. Florida State's at 5. Because they're still undefeated. So, I mean, they need...
Almost. I feel like they almost blew it to the Gators. I mean...
Yeah, that was a tough game. So, I mean, this is another one for Oregon and Alabama fans, because if Florida State loses this, then that opens that doorway right away for... No, I think Florida State's 4th.
They are. I'm pretty sure they are 4th.
Because Oregon's 5th.
I think Washington went above them.
Yeah, but
Washington's 3.
Yeah, Washington's 3rd now.
That's right, yeah.
Let me see. I have it. It should be... Yeah, Florida State's 4th. So, insane conference championships coming up, dude. It's going to be such good football this weekend. I'm so excited.
Probably not going to watch a single game.
Right. I'm traveling. Moving up, though, we got hot takes.
Hot takes.
As always, feel free to drop your hot takes on Twitter, Spotify, Carrier Pigeon, wherever you share your news, and we would love to include them and tell you how wrong you are. But first hot take we got here: Ravens defense best in the league.
That is pretty hot. You're getting hotter every week. Like we started off week 1, and I
started moisturizing. I started taking better skin. Okay, my bad.
Are you drinking water now?
I'm drinking more water.
Have you started drinking water?
Ravens defense best in the league.
God, that is a hard one. That's. I wouldn't say it's the hottest take.
I don't think it's
hot, but there was a game the other day that one of the commentators kept saying historic defense, like nonstop. It was getting annoying.
About the Ravens?
No, I don't think it was the Ravens. I'm trying to remember who it was the other day.
Probably the Browns, bro. Everyone's been hyping up the Browns.
It was the Browns. It was the Browns because they were on a historic run for, I think, passing yards allowed per game, points per game allowed, and then another one, like third down percentage. And then Denver just kind of obliterated that.
Bro,
I mean, down one.
Looking at Ravens team statistics for 2023 so far, I mean, they've held opponents to 16 total touchdowns. They've given up 16 touchdowns this season.
The Jets only have a total of 10 offensive touchdowns.
So I mean, that's kind of crazy, right? Like, that's a bit insane.
That's wild.
I want to see. I'm trying to. It's hard to like find stats for just specifically defense.
I have to look up who this next guy is because I don't know if that's hot or not.
Turnover ratio. It's not pulling up turnover ratio. I just want like good defensive stats. All right, here we go. Defense. No safeties. I don't think they're the best defense now. Broncos have a safety, so I mean.
Broncos best in the league. I'm calling it.
Geno Stone has 6 interceptions. I mean, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely one of the toughest. I don't know who I would put like. Would you say the 49ers are better than the Ravens defense?
49ers, Browns, Bears.
Wow, you're just naming
Dolphins.
Teams.
I was naming teams in the NFL.
I didn't really
sometimes forget them, so I just had to.
Crimson Tide.
Gosh. All right, keeping on the track of defenses. I saw one post today. Someone said that Dexter Lawrence is the best defensive player. You got stats for that?
Super hot. Yeah, he has 25 solos and 4 sacks.
That's pretty good.
There's people that have way more than 4.
Yeah.
I had to look him up because I was like, oh, he must be like really good.
Yeah, I don't know why this person's on, but that's insane.
Isn't he play for Dallas?
Giants. He's a Giants player.
Wow. Yeah, that's right there. He just automatically loses it.
Legit 41 tackles, 4 sacks, 2 pass deflections.
Not horrible.
Not like terrible, but nothing like bro. We didn't even know bro's name. And I don't think it's because
I think it's super hot to say that because I mean those stats aren't anything insane.
No, like I don't think he's doing anything wild. I'm trying to find like a ranking. Myles Garrett's up there for Defensive Player of the Year. He's the favorite to win.
That.
He's the favorite to win.
It's because Myles Garrett's. I gotta go to bed, guys. I'll see you on next week's episode. I
mean, so like this right here, this has the Browns' defensive yards averaged is 247. So I'm guessing that's like what they give up. Ravens are right behind the Browns though for like best defense. So I mean, going back to the first one, I don't think it's too hot that the Ravens are the best defense.
What is FF?
Forced fumbles.
Force? Okay, well, Myles Garrett has 24 solos, 13 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles.
Trash.
That's solid.
Trash.
Yeah, Myles Garrett is. Woo! Now he's injured, so it's like
doesn't matter. Broken arm.
Yeah, he's out.
All right. What about Steelers are the worst 7-4 team ever?
They've been the worst 7-4 team for the last 5 seasons.
They're always the worst 7-4 team.
Ever since
the only reason they're above that is because what's his face just has to have a season where he's like not like where he's over 0.5.
Yeah, their head coach.
It's the only reason that they are.
I'm pretty sure he's never had a losing season, has he?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like they're always the worst positive team.
Yeah. It's like
the most mediocre.
Yeah. I think it's funny because like I feel like all these games, like didn't they just be like the Bengals or something? But it's like, yeah, the Bengals just lost Joe Burrow. Like
the Bengals lost a QB and they beat them by 6.
I feel all their like wins have come right after like huge like losses for those teams. Like they just lost a player or something, you know? So like let's see who
they lost to the Texans 30-6.
Yeah, so like they beat the Bengals who lost Joe Burrow. They lost to the Browns who don't have a quarterback anymore. It's just a defensive team at this point. Beat the Packers, but like that's the Packers.
And they barely beat them.
They beat the Titans who have no idea what they're doing this season.
And only won by 4.
Lost to the Jaguars, but like Jags are a decent team. They beat the Rams, but like okay. Everyone
That's
has.
on and off.
They beat the Ravens though. That one's crazy.
That one
is crazy, but that was towards like the beginning of the season when Ravens weren't doing as well.
Yeah, and then the Texans dropped a 30 piece on the Steelers as well. So I mean, I think also have an opening week against the 49ers is terrible. Those poor Steelers fans, dude.
Yeah.
All right. Saw another post today. People are saying that Bill Belichick needs to retire.
That's not even slightly hot. I'm surprised he is not already fired and off the team.
Oh, because him and Kraft are buddies.
Kraft has been having problems with him. Kraft was like, yeah, if this doesn't work out soon, then he's not here anymore.
I wonder if they're holding on so he gets more wins to challenge Don Shula's win total.
I wonder. He's going to be there for another 20 years, though.
At this rate.
When you get 2 a season, he's going to be there for a long time.
They're going to finally be like, breaking news, Bill Belichick passed, he's the number 1 winningest coach of all time. You're like, sweet. And then it's like in the subtext, it's like he could have had this record 10 seasons ago.
If he stayed on track that he had, he would have been done 25 seasons ago.
They have been 1 win away for the past 10 seasons.
Yeah, they're not good.
It is funny.
Kind of goes to show you how much Brady meant.
I was
going to
say it's funny how much he's getting exposed without Brady now. Like
he's nothing without Brady, which I hate to say because I hate Brady, but it's like it proves it that Brady was the team.
What's crazy too was like everyone, like Mac Jones last season, everyone's like, "Yo, Mac Jones, like he's okay, like he's kind of doing decent." And then like there's the one game where like they pulled him, and then like Billy Zapp or whatever threw like a 90-yard touchdown, and everyone's like, "Oh, he just lost his job." And then they were like, "We're gonna start Mac Jones this week," and everyone's like, "Bro, why?" Like Zappa's killing.
When he started the season, I was like, you still have.
It is so
right?
funny because like they would legit go 2 quarters of like Mac Jones, and they'd be like, "All right, let's get Bill in here real quick for a couple passes." They put him in touchdown in like 3 plays, and you're like,
"Yep."
And they're like, "Cool, Mac, get back out there."
Cool, Mac, it's your turn. It's like, no, you don't just put someone else in because something good happened.
Yeah, so I don't know, Doc. That was insane.
What was hilarious is last year they were using
actually Bailey Zappi.
Oh yeah,
is it Bailey? I think Billy Zappa's the Karate Kid guy.
Yeah, it is.
You might be right.
I always say Billy Zappa because he's in Karate Kid. No one corrects me.
What's funny is last year weren't they using a defensive coordinator as the co-offensive coordinator?
Probably that whole team's defensive coordinators. Their head coach is a defensive coordinator.
And now they're using Bill O'Brien, who used to be
probably only hires defensive
Texans
coordinators.
Coach. Yeah.
Gosh. All right.
There's your problem.
Let's move on. We got Sean Payton for Coach of the Year. Are we saying that he's the reason the Broncos are 6-5 right now and have improved since last year already? Oh,
a big chunk of it.
What has changed between last season and this season? Head coach. That's it.
Yeah, and defensive coordinator.
Probably some other things that we don't know about because they're not just like telling us. They started off exactly how last season went. 17,
my bad.
16,
they did get a new ball boy.
18.
They did get a new ball boy. You're right. So I guess we can't say it's maybe the ball boy's doing something different.
Hey, I played ball boy and I was good, and
so did Mike McDaniels.
Yeah,
they started off the team exactly last time. Like 17, 16 didn't score 18, so they didn't win. And
I do think there's something to say.
20.
Like they started 1 in like 5 or whatever. And he didn't let that get them into a point where it's like, cool, we're here for the rest of the season. Like, it was funny. They were on like a 2-3 game losing streak, and he was like, we can't lose this because then we'll be in a rut. And then they lost that game, and they were in a rut. But then, like, he did pull them out of that. They're on a 5-game win streak. So I think there's something to be said about like being able to lead a team out of a 1 in 5 start.
Right. The team's definitely. Honestly, the team isn't even playing better. The defense started playing, is what happened. That's what happened.
When
the
I just
offense
saw
does not.
The over this 5-game win streak, Denver's plus 13 in the turnover margin.
They're getting more.
Yeah, they've gotten 13 more received 13 more turnovers.
Yeah, because defense is playing.
In 5 games?
In 5 games, plus 13.
That's great.
13 turnovers in that many games?
Yep.
And offsetting. So that means it's probably more turnovers because the Broncos definitely have had some turnovers in those 5 games.
Yep. And Russ is 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, but he has fumbled it.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
I just saw that.
That's crazy. I don't know, dude. I don't know about like coach of the year. I don't know like who would get coach of the year. I don't know what you like.
Probably
if it's like most improved player where you're like, yeah, this team was trash last year, but this new coach is helping.
That'd be most improved coach.
Maybe if Greg Olsen turns this Panthers program around.
I think if he finishes with the winning season, then a legitimate shot for coach of the year.
I could see that. I think that's a fair qualifier, seeing how the Broncos were last season and how everyone thought it was the Hackett-Wilson relationship. I think Sean Payton coming in and fixing that, and all of a sudden the Broncos have a playoff shot, like, that's kind of crazy. He's better than Deion. Better than Deion Sanders.
True.
All right. Some people are saying that the Lions peaked already, and that they're not going anywhere the rest of the season. Lions peak?
Yeah, not with that coach. I think he's still got more to give them.
For the rest of the season?
They'll get some more.
Lions peaked. I mean, they almost lost the Bears. The only reason that they won is because the Bears tanked on purpose. And then they did lose to the Packers.
That's because the moon. That was because the moon.
Same way.
That was because the moon.
If you're a good enough team, you should be able to win despite the moon.
Not if you're werewolves.
They're not werewolves.
We don't know that, bro.
I just can't believe how insane. Every time
Who noticed that? Who noticed
waxing Gib? What's it called?
Waxing gibbous.
They've lost every time.
Who keeps track of that? It's like, oh my god, that's like, I guarantee you, the person that had that stat ready is a hardcore bettor. That's a hardcore sports bettor to track the moon.
It's the same dude that's in our fantasy football league that complained about some things.
Oh, Colin called him out.
Troy. But I mean, Lions play Saints, so that's an L. Bears, that's an L. Broncos. What are you guys going to say about that? Is that an L?
You're saying the Lions are going to lose to the Saints?
It was the Bears. The Lions can score more than one touchdown.
The Bears were on track to beat them, and then they just stopped playing for 3 full minutes. What are you talking about? That already basically happened.
They did it against the Vikings. The Lions are just better at taking advantage of it.
Okay, so then they're going to beat the Broncos because the Broncos can't score a touchdown. Then they have Vikings, Cowboys, Vikings. So
they'll beat the Vikings at least.
The sad part is, even if they have already peaked, they're still going to get a few wins.
Yeah, Bears.
Because they don't have a strong schedule.
Yeah, the Bears game for sure.
Yeah, the Broncos game for sure.
I saw something that said that Tua and Tyreek is better than Mahomes and Tyreek.
Honestly, I don't even think that's hot. Like, I think
feels like a better connection.
Statistically, they are better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you think too, Mahomes also had Kelsey to throw to. Really, Tua only has
Jalen Waddle.
Tyreek, he has Waddle, he has Mostert, a Kane when he's healthy. You guys are.
That's fair.
They have Chase Claypool. Like, are you even thinking before you say things?
Still doing this with Chase Claypool?
Don't think Chase Claypool's played a snap.
Because they're trying to keep him off the field.
I don't know how to check that, but I do not think he has played a single snap.
It was the first ever. It was the first ever trade where the Bears paid another team to take a player. Oh my gosh! I totally forgot. I forgot they had Claypool. It obviously hasn't impacted them that much.
He might be on the practice squad. I'm not even kidding. When you look at their roster, I'm not seeing Chase Claypool. Oh, there it is. I went over it. That would have been hilarious if he went to the practice squad.
Bro is the same status as Joe Flacco.
Questionable?
No, on the practice squad.
Oh. It says 14 hours ago his status changed to questionable.
Claypool?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they probably beat him with a tire iron to keep him off the field. All right, let's go one more real quick before we go to pick'ems. Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert are overrated.
No.
Trevor Lawrence and Justin
I don't know. Herbert. I could probably see someone's argument for that. You know, like they do still have like one of the best pass offenses. I feel like we're up there, but like Trevor Lawrence is a hot take to say he's overrated
because he doesn't have a lot around him.
And they're still on a playoff run right now. So I mean, that's a bit much for me.
Herbert at least has Eckler and that receiver. I forgot his name. But he's got a few people around him.
Yeah. So I feel like that's a bit of a hot take. I think just because also I don't think like the Chargers are losing games because Justin Herbert. Like the Chargers are putting up 40 points and like losing games. This last week he got held to 10 points, but they played the Ravens, who we've already said are one of the top defenses in the league.
That's just that is the top defense.
Well, you guys didn't agree, so I said we're just gonna round it. So I mean, like that's a bit much for me. Don't be talking about my boy Trevi Laurie like that.
No, I like Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert. Watching Justin Herbert play, I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Like, I think he plays really well. I don't know how it could be fixed to the point where he's constantly winning.
Yeah,
but there's just something missing.
They need a run game. They have no run game.
Eckler's insane.
Do they use him that much as a running back?
Yeah, he was just out for like 5 games. He was injured, but the second he came back, he put up like I think his first game back was against Chicago, I'm pretty sure. And he had like 150 yards or something. Like, they have a run game, they have a throwing game. I'm wondering if it's purely defense that's the reason they're not winning games.
Yeah.
And then Trevor Lawrence, I honestly don't like him much just because his face annoys me and his hair, but he is a good QB, and like, I think Jags are doing really well. So,
yeah,
that's a crazy hot take. That is hot.